This might look a little scuffed. My apologies. I should edit the start of this out. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. Hey folks, welcome back. I'm going to use that clap to edit out the start of this video later, because I have no idea when the stream actually went live and when I punched the button. So, good enough for me. Sorry about that, being a little bit scuffed. But yeah, so as always, we're playing more Historic Brawl. Unlike most of the other Historic Brawl decks that I make, this one I actually won a tournament with. And we'll go over that a little bit later, but first, let's start with the commander and the rest of the deck. So the commander here is Slimefoot, Thallid Transplant. This card is one of the new alchemy commanders for the Dominaria United Alchemy set. We got 6 new commanders with that sort of mini set out of the 25 cards. And this is the second one that I'm doing a video on. I did Rizug before, but I ended up making this deck and bringing it to the event. So let's talk about it. It's a pretty straightforward card in a lot of ways. It's a 2-drop for 2, and its effect is pretty simple. Whenever a swamp or forest enters the battlefield under your control, draft a card from Slimefoot Thallid's Transplant's spellbook. So we've got 15 cards here, but basically they all support semi-tribal fungus, is probably the best way to put it. So Deathbloom Thallid, Death Bonnet Sprout, Rhizome Lurcher, Spore Crawler, Spore Crown Thaliad, Spore Mound, Shambler, Omnivore, Soothsayer, Yamiva Shepherd, Fungal Plots, Verdant Force, Verdant Embrace, Spore Swarm, and Saproling Migration. So the way that this deck generally works is you are just going to try to rush a whole bunch of mana. You use that to prepare to play a bunch of bigger threats like Vorniclex, Great Henge, Ulamog, the other Vorniclex, while at the same time the rest of the deck is mostly a lot of control options for trying to get rid of your opponent's crap. And at the same time, while you're rushing land is giving you enough to build a mildly threatening board state with the rest of these cards. So if you're playing into a aggro-y deck, you try to play lands, play little tiny funguses to just sort of swarm the board and kind of slow them down. If you're playing into a control list, you just keep throwing down funguses, and they have the choice of either dealing with the funguses now by counterspelling them, which means they have less counterspells for your bigger threats much later in the game, or letting you put them onto the board, at which point you can just sort of blitz them down. The other big tool that this deck has that I found a couple times, even though it's not always obvious, is setting up a big board state and then just wiping the board to finish your opponent out. So I had a couple games at the tournament where I played this, where I would have like 5 or 6 things out, they'd have 3 to 4 things out, and then I'd drop Blood Artist into either Blood on the Snow, or, for example, where is my recently nerfed? Here we go. Into something like Meathook Massacre, right? Blood Artist or Meathook Massacre into board wipes, Blood on the Snow. I thought I had one more. I thought I had the 5-drop board wipe in this, but it looks like I don't. But a lot of this is just ramp. We also have a few search tools. We have Grim Tutor. We have the draw tools and the staples in black. So we have Black Market Connections, Grim Tutor, Phyrexian Arena, along with just straight up the Black Market. And pretty much that's how this deck actually plays. So hopefully I can show it off in a cool way on stream as opposed to being very scuffed. The rest of this is pretty straightforward. We've got things like Harrow, Omen of the Hunt, Roiling Regrowth, lots of land ramp into the north, lots of land ramp, Solemn Simulacrum. Yeah, same difference. Binding of the Old Gods. We got a fair amount of removal. One of the other new cards that did not ever end up becoming in clutch, but I think I talked about this on my Dominaria review, I'm very excited about, was Nantuku Slicer. I think this is a really good card. I think we're going to see this get played a fair amount, especially, like, specifically in this color combo, because it gets you a lot more cards. But what I found when actually playing this is the way it actually tended to work is you just sort of built up a fair amount of board state, and then you just went at them. And obviously we have a fair amount of removal with things like Baleful Mastery. And we have also a few, what I would call tech cards. So Tainted Remedy for life game matchups. This never actually became relevant in any of the games that I played. And Knight of Souls Betrayal for the aggro matchups. And this was relevant somewhat in a couple games. Maybe not as much as it could have been. A couple weeks ago, at pretty much the same one of these tournaments, I got my butt kicked by Adeline. And so any black deck that I run from here on out runs Knight of Souls Betrayal, just to be able to have a mulliganable option to actually bring into it. So let's play some games now that we've just covered the deck. And as always, the deck list is below. the video in the little description, so you can just copy it if you want it. And at the same time, while you're down there looking at things like the video description, maybe you should subscribe. That'd be cool. I'd like it if you're not already subscribed. If you are already subscribed, thank you. And now I'm done with my little spiel. We can just play Magic. Let's see who our first opponent is going to be. Adeline, Resplendent Cathaar. Alright, so I know what... Yeah, I couldn't ask for a better opening hand. This is perfect. The question is whether or not this Adeline list is running a whole bunch of enchantment removal. Let's start with Deathcap. So the reason I'm playing Deathcap first is that Slimefoot only triggers when you play swamps or forests. And what that means is that special lands will never trigger his ability except for the new one, and except for shots. But because of that, I can't really rely on being able to hit his ability with anything else. Let's do that. I'm assuming this is a aggro list, so I'm going to go grab Roiling Migration, but the fact that they haven't played anything in turns 1 or 2 has me a little anxious. And we'll go grab another Swamp. And then we're going to set up to start doing potentially Knight of Souls Betrayal if more aggro comes out. Let's get Yambo Shepherd. So probably the other thing that'd be worth talking about with this deck is what are the best draft options. And I would say that most of the time it's pretty straightforward. Like, there's some that are just much better than others. But... I'm sorry, I need to turn this audio down. But that's not always the case. And there are also a few that are just, like, for example, Thallid Omnivore, I don't love. Yambo Shepherd gives you 2 bodies. Fungal Plots is useful if you have stuff to sack with it. I'm going to grab the Shepherd right here. And I'm going to play you. And I'm going to play you. So now we have chumps to block with. I'm used to Adeline lists being a little bit more aggressive than this one. 4/4. Can we kill that? Yeah, we can actually. I'm actually willing to do these trades. Let's see what they're going to do for this. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. I'm hoping this wasn't a misread. I'm assuming they're going to just leave me the Saproling, but yeah, the Elvish Reclaimer would have been quite good to keep around for a little bit longer, but it's not a huge loss. Especially if we get Nadar for it. Yeah, and then we'll crack out the Knight of Souls Betrayal in like 1 turn. Yeah, they'll keep. Okay, so they'll keep Nadar. But I'll still have the Shepherd. I would like to keep hitting my land drops. So let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. No, let's... Yes, let's do that. So as you can see, actually, a lot of the cards I'm playing so far aren't even... They're just cards I'm getting off Slimefoot, right? Like, he's keeping a lot of tempo up. I would like to... Let's see what we're going to see here. Revitalized, gain 3 life, draw a card. Is this enchantment? We can just double block enchantment. 2, 3, 4. Which one's better? I'm about to blood money the board regardless, so it's probably better to just... I'm actually not necessarily guaranteed to blood money the board. Let's give up as little as possible. I don't care too much about the treasure tokens, so let's just cover and shop. Hopefully we get a land here. There we go. Now we're actually going to start looking for some of the bigger drops. Let's get Spore Crown Thallid. That's quite useful because now we can use Knight of Souls Betrayal without running into any real issues. Wipe the board. They'll get a 1-1, which I'm not in love with, but hey, it could be worse. And next up is going to be Knight of Souls Betrayal as soon as Adeline comes back, which I would not be surprised if that's this turn. No board at battlements. Yeah. But Spore Crown Thallid means that we can start making saplings again without having to worry too much. We're going to take 3. Let's break you out, because I don't want this attack to go on too much longer. And I'm going to wait 1 turn. Is that... I'll wait 1 turn. Let's do Harrow right now instead. I did this wrong. I did this order for wrong. Let's go get another swamp and another forest. And if I have 5, is that... Let's do this. And let's get... Let's get Spore Storm. We have a lot of mana to work with. Next, end turn. Next turn we'll do Barrier Breach, based on what gets pulled out. That's a problem. Change of plans. We need to go find removal for that. Okay, this could actually be a lot worse, but I don't love this position that I'm in. Do I have any hard removal? No. Can I get... Do they have any hard removal? They do not. Turn target card from graveyard to your hand. Turn target card. You just go get a board wipe. I think that's probably the right choice. 1, 2... Well, that's actually... It's not going to be... That's not quite enough mana. Let's cast with the kicker then. We'll get Blood Money, and I'm going to steal their copy of... Gideon's Sacrifice. We should be able to reset the board next turn. I have 4 to buy with. I'm going to need to discard cards down anyway, so let's play this now. Yeah. End turn. But yeah, as you can see, we're staying... Okay, sacrifice another target creature you gains control. Yep, so okay, so he plans to... Yep. Don't quite understand what they're going for with this one. Let's do that. Draw a card. I have put myself into a bit of a pickle here with some of these. Let's play Swamp. I don't love you, I don't love you, I don't love you. You're more useful than the other two right now. Can I play this and play the other one? No, I gotta play Blood Money this turn and try to hope that I pull some sort of hard removal. Right? Do I have a 3-drop I can play? I'll have some treasure tokens, though, for next turn. That, I will say, is probably the deck's one big weakness that, like, in retrospect I sort of realized. There is very little, there's very little ways to deal with flyers. And that comes back to bite me surprisingly often. So, I haven't made any tweaks to this deck since I made it, but there are definitely problems with it. I think I get one more turn. Oh boy, 15 1/1s. But this is why I like Knight of Souls Betrayal. There we go, Vraska's Contempt. Alright. Let's do that. Will I have 4 to buy with? Yes, I will, because I have the treasure. And then let's do Spore Swarm, just so we have no bodies. No attacks, and turn. So obviously the Neverwinter Dryad is not doing a huge amount for me right here in its current position. Usually I'd just play that earlier and sack it to go fetch more lands. I'll just take one. What do I want to do here? Let's start with my commander again. Okay, yep, you're quite good. It also just occurred to me that I can play Neverwinter Dryad now because I have the... Oh, I still get a card draw for that? That's a little funky. Do I have a swamp? Yes, I do. So let's do Necroblossom. Reveal that. To do Migration Path. Go find some more cards. I don't think I have YouTube chat set up for today. Let's grab 1 and 2. And we'll grab... So at this point, we're in a more stable position, so I'm going to start grabbing bigger stuff. So the other thing is I would say is that Spore Crown Thallid is the go-to pickup card. This is the card you want to be drafting when it shows up in that pool. If you just have a couple other saplings in this, it'll also buff Slimefoot, and it turns everything into a real threat real fast. Let me see if I can fix YouTube chat while I'm doing this. Let's just do pop out chat. Hello chat in the popped out window. And we'll turn it right back on. Okay. And we'll turn on chat. Does that look good? And we'll just type that. Yep. Okay, chat looks good. Awesome. So I'm just going to block that. I don't see a reason not to. Yeah. Alright, and that's game. But yeah, so that's pretty much a pretty good summary, I think, of how the deck is supposed to play out. We'll do a few more games. I'm sort of debating whether or not I should do a recap of the tournament, but I'm not sure there's too much point in doing that on stream. That's something to talk about, so I'll just do that while we wait, and we'll talk about it. So, there were 5 matches. 3 normal matches, 1 game in semifinals, 1 game in finals. I won 2 of the first 2, lost the 3rd match, got into semis, won finals. And so the decks that this faced up against in order were Muldrotha, cast from Graveyard. That one, I think they got a little... Hey, look who it is. That's perfect timing. I think they got a little unlucky with some of their earlier plays. I can keep this. And I was able to blitz it down, and then just... is this... This might be like the identical deck that I actually played against in round 1 of the tournament. Which was... So it's dicey. It's a dicey matchup. But this deck can hit the removal. If it hits the removal fast enough, it can deal with a lot of these bigger threats. Overgrown Tomb does have a land type. So we can do this. Basically, I just went aggro with the deck and was able to sweep and blitz the board. Yeah, they've learned. This person's learned to remove it. It's probably the right call. I don't really care about my life so much as I care about not letting them have things in their hand in graveyard. So... I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to break expectations this turn. I probably should have done Omen of the Hunt. Let's see what their tools are. Mystic Subdue, Memory Deluge. They don't have any more land. So, again, that's a questionable play that I made right there. My hope is that if they are planning... If this deck is greedy enough to hope that it's just going to draw into land, I think... Like, the correct choice was probably Memory Deluge. But one more land enables the rest of the deck, so I'll just take this. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. Extinguish the light. Yeah, they don't have... Oh, they pulled into the relic. Oh, well. Sorry, I just need to think for 1 second. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. Exile up to 3 target enchantments. Yeah, they can't hit artifacts with that. They will crack out Extinguish the Light, right? They've only got one of each color. I have an idea. Might not be a good one. Let's try it. So I think they're going to just do Extinguish the Light onto Slimefoot. And if they do that, I can do Nissa into... Oh, that loses all my text. That works too. In that case, change of plans. We're just going to switch over to hard ramping. I wonder if I have a sacrifice engine. Not that I could think of. But yes, this was actually pretty much the game 1 of the event. And in that game, I hit my aggro fast enough, and they didn't know to deal with Slimefoot early enough that I was able to kind of just blitz them down. Actually, so we're starting to get a bunch of the toolbox pieces I want. Let's do Omen of the Hunt first. Yep, search your library for basic land. We're just going to keep ramping, and we're going to do this as well. I probably should have... I wish I had attacked with Slimefoot. But the big issue here is going to be... Memory Deluge is such an obnoxious card. I probably should have hit that instead of the Taxidermist, but... Oh well, hindsight's 50-50. Muldrotha, I was able to win the first 2 basically off aggro, if I'm remembering correctly. I honestly have to rewatch my stream. It was tense, but I think they got a little unlucky with their land drops, and I was able to just blitz them down pretty quick. Okay. Let's start making them have to deal with some difficult decisions. You can see if they went and pulled a counter spell as well. They did not. So we're going to do this first. We're going to do this next. And I can't really go on the offensive in any super effective way, so... Let's go dig for more cards. Alright, so I need to count what's in it. 1, 2... 5, 5, and 5, right? Whenever a creature you control dies, or a creature you control dies, whenever a creature you control dies. So this is actually a very interesting point in the game, because this is where all of a sudden it is... My board state of creatures on board is suddenly very relevant. Yeah, it's kind of what I expected. Because if I can kill the whole board, all of a sudden I can just win the game. And since that's the case... Let's just swing with this. I think that's lethal. 1 second. 5, 5, 5. Yep, that's lethal. Is it? If they don't have Null Pact, then that is lethal. Yeah, I think I should realize they can respond with Babale Saga, which is the right choice. Unfortunately, so they get 3 life. So I might have miscounted here now. I think. Yeah. So I did miscount, but they're still pretty close to dead. Fortunately, they are still alive. End turn. With that said, they had to give up a land for that, so hopefully that slows them down a bit. Also, I only need to get 4 more creatures out and get them killed in order to win the game. In which case, my best bet is probably Nissa next turn. Okay. Yeah, if they have the mass manipulation for effectively nothing, I'm fine with that. I did this in the wrong order. Yeah, okay, so I misplayed this turn pretty badly. 1 second. I could do that, but I don't want to. Yeah, I misplayed this turn. I should have just played Slimefoot. Ah, well. Alternately, if I just brought back Blood Artist. Still, though, I only need 1 more point of damage to win, so if I can literally find a way to attack with anything or kill anything. They can hit me for 10, though. I'll probably cycle Barrier Breach. Why would they do it this way? Why not hit my Planeswalker with both? Maybe they've got Return to Hand spells. Okay, well, let's start by tapping that for black. Play you now. I should have just gone and grabbed Tainted Pact, maybe. Okay. That's still game. But yeah, so that game went kind of the way my first game against Muldrotha actually went. The big difference, I would say, is that with the actual game of the tournament, I counted correctly and did not get completely hosed by miscounting into the on-death triggers from Saprolings and a bunch of stuff, and was able to use that. So I hit them early, got them down to about 15, and then cleared out the whole board, and then got them for like the other 15 life with Blood Artist and Meathook Massacre off Saprolings. But that was game 1. So game 2 was, again, in the tournament, not this one. Game 2 in the tournament was against Rigo Streetwise Mentor, which is one of the Capenna. It's a 3-color deck, and there was a pretty popular list that came out with that, I think, maybe like a week or two ago, that somebody did a write-up on. It was posted on the subreddit and stuff like that. 1 second. I'm gonna mulligan this, looking for green. We found green. I will keep... But second game was Rigo Streetwise Mentor, and in that one, I managed to just sort of outpace them on drops. It did go longer than the other one, and I did not hit my Knight of Soul's Betrayal, to sort of, which is again there for matchups like that, but I was still able to pull the game out. So I'll talk about that in a little bit more. But first, let's focus on this. All right, Woodland Chasm. We'll do turn 2 Slimefoot, turn 3 Lotus Cobra, or turn... Ooh. It's kind of tricky. No, I think I know what it's going to actually be. So let's do this. So Wrenn 7. I have not played against a Wrenn 7 deck yet. I'm assuming this is Hyper Ramp or something funky from the graveyard. But I don't know for sure. Let's do this. Let's go grab a Spore Crown Thallid. And then let's mutate this so that we can punch through. And go grab some more land as well. We'll go grab a swamp. That was a mistake. I should have grabbed the forest. What am I thinking? Let's grab Verdant Force for reasons that'll become clear in just a second. Mostly the reason is that I'm going to just immediately throw it into the graveyard. But now it's there if we want to resurrect it later. Turn 3. Should probably just be Circuitous Route. Yeah. Yep. Self-mill. You may play lands from your library. Yep. Okay. Lotus Cobra, Forest. Yeah, this works. Let's get another green. Let's get that first, then let's get another green. Now let's do Circuitous Route. And we're going to go grab 2 more forests, because we're actually pretty much already set on swamps. And we'll grab some more cards from the graveyard. Spore Crown Thallid. Deathsprout, because it's cheap. Green and green. Let's do that, and let's do this. Let's actually play this turn. It's nothing I hugely want to use it on just yet, but having it out and starting to tick things down is going to be useful. The other option would have been to have played Spore Crown Thallid and then just set up for more aggro on the next turn, which might have been a better choice, but... Okay. Sylvan Anthem. Green creature control get 1/1. Whenever a green enters the battlefield, scry 1. That's a good card. Terramorphic. I wonder if they're going to go get a forest. Oh look, it's a forest. No blocks. So it looks like they've decided to just chase, which is interesting. Is there anything in their graveyard I can steal yet? Not really. Scroot Swarm will force a response. I have an idea. Scroot Swarm into unkicked... actually, wait. Scroot Swarm into kicked Slicer. I'm going to get back my Circuitous Route, and I'm going to steal... Snow-covered forest. Play the snow-covered forest. Let's go get Swarm Shambler, and we'll add a green. So the reason for the 2 cheap is we can now do Swarm Shambler for 1, and Deathsprout, and all of a sudden we have quite an imposing board state. Let's see what they're going to do next. I'm assuming they're still trying to set up some sort of just general state or engine. My plan is going to be Bastion of Remembrance into the Spore Crown Thalids and just trying to blitz them down. But we'll have to see. They can also get something quite big out of Wrenn 7. And if they start setting up with Wrenn 7, then it'll be Circuitous Route instead to try to overwhelm them with Scroot Swarm. We'll have to see what they choose to do here, though. It's gonna be interesting. Put any number of lands from your hand onto the battlefield. Yeah, they made Spirit bigger. Guardian Project is good. We got a bunch of good stuff here. I don't really need to reset their hand. Let's do... I should tap that at some point. I want to make this cheaper for no particular reason. Let's go get a bunch more land. Grab some swamps. Grab some forests. Get a bunch more landfall stacks. Don't actually love Spore Mound in the stack. I want to do Deathsprout instead. And let's go grab the Shepherd. No, let's grab the Spore Swarm. And we'll add some green, and we'll add some black. Okay, we got a bunch more little dudes, so let's throw you out. Pump up everybody else. I should have done Guardian Project first. Sorry, I'm in a pretty relaxed mood today, so I'm not playing this at like 100% brain power deck. Is there any reason? No, let's wait one turn. I want to do Bastion of Remembrance, and then we're going to try to use that to chip them down the rest of the way. Bastion of Remembrance, chip into Crux of Fate is going to be the plan here. Sorry, I need to blow my nose. I might just step away in just a minute. Look for tissues. Something else to learn, I guess, for streaming is that I need to be prepared to be like, without actually massively interrupting the stream. Sorry about that. Beanstalk Giant. Probably don't want that to hit. That's 8 it has to be at before it becomes a big threat. Well, if I hit one more land... Fertilid, yeah. Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yes, that is... Do I just have lethal here again? Let's see. I don't think I do just yet. Whatever creature you control dies. Sorry. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I would need a little bit more. I think I can get it, though. I think I can just do this. And then we can use Crux of Fate as a finisher. Anything that gets through, gets through. I only need 3 damage to actually hit. And everything else can just chunk. You know, I'm starting to realize that was actually a really big part of this deck's synergy, and I'd like to say that it was a very intelligent choice on my hand, but it was mostly an accident. Destroy all non-dragon creatures. Yep, I would like my commander back in the command zone. Thank you very much, game. And that's it. Yeah, so I guess good time as any to talk about the second matchup. The second matchup was Rigo Streetwise Mentor in the tournament. There was a longer write-up on that list, and I will be honest, going into that, I did not have a huge plan to deal with that list, but what ended up happening is that it's sort of like a mid-rangey list, and it wasn't able to get in enough to push lethal on me in either of the 2 games, if I'm remembering correctly, and I was able to just sort of keep a steady board long enough to build up and then just push back. The downside to Rigo, I'll just pull him up real quick, at least in my opinion, even though this deck has a lot of, like, I'm not trying to say this deck is bad, more just that I think it has kind of a big weakness in certain situations, and that is that it's like whenever you attack a player or planeswalker with 1 or more creatures with power 1 or less, draw a card. It's really good. Like this is the deck with this was much better than the deck I made for Rigo a while back, but the downside to it is it only gets you like 1 card a turn, and so Slimefoot can actually kind of keep parity with it in terms of card and board state. So in that case, I was able to just sort of clean out Rigo and control the game, and that one also went 2-0. However, that is not true of game number 3. And I will talk about game number 3. Okay, good, it's Jodah. So I'll be honest, against Jodah, I think I can beat Jodah, but that is reliant on the person who's playing Jodah choosing to have made a bad decision in deck construction, and the bad decision to be not including like 3 and 4 drops, or 1 and 2 drops, and basically just playing greed Jodah. Kind of like a greedy version of the first sliver. So this is actually not a... This is not a bad opening hand outside of the land. But given that we have Into the North, into Phyrexian Arena, we got 2 pieces of removal. I might try this. I might try to push this. Just because if we do draw a land, this hand becomes great. And even if we don't draw a land, this hand is still mostly playable. We'll have to see. We will have to see. Though I would like it if my opponent played some cards. I'm going to keep this and see what happens, just because I'm curious. Now, if this is a more aggressive version of Jodah that is planning to just play out tempo, as opposed to play 5-colored good stuff, then yeah, I'm in trouble. But I haven't seen too many of those. I've seen a lot of really greedy Jodah decks right now. Probably because we're still in that portion of the play cycle where you can play Jodah and get matched against whatever tier you want. And so if you play Jodah and you get matched into a low tier deck, you can just stomp them, even if your deck's not very good. But let's see. No, okay, so this looks like somebody who's playing Jodah in a somewhat smart way, which is kind of bad. It means my deck may not work quite as well as I would like. Let's just do Into the North. Should I do Slimefoot or should I do Fire? I should do Fire Scene Arena next turn. There's no contest. Interesting. That could have been greedier, but alright, we're not going to remove that. We're just going to play Phyrexian Arena. Oh, does this have a negate? It's going to be disappointing if this is a negate. Yes, it does. Okay, so this looks like a much more stable Jodah list, which means it's quite possible that I get my butt kicked here. Which would parallel nicely the story of what happened at the tournament. Because getting my butt kicked is exactly what proceeded to occur. There's my fourth land. I want to try this. Okay, so this is Control Jodah. 1, 2, 3. So then they're going to stack their deck. But playing Jodah means that you will not have... Interesting. Ooh, okay, so this is a smart Jodah deck. I don't love my odds into it anymore. What did they just steal? 4 Eclax? How badly do I want that back? I would like it back, but not super badly. Let's do this. Are they running Pact of Negation? And in that case, it actually doesn't matter that I top decked this wrong, but... Alright. I would prefer not to trade Slimefoot for just getting Voraclex back. Frankly, they're still 2 mana off being able to use it, I think. No, they're 1 mana off being able to use it. That's actually kind of bad. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They stacked their deck. They know what's there. I'm just going to hope. Let's grab some more cards. Spore Crawler is very good. And Spore Crown Daliad. Now let's hope they don't top deck into land, because I cannot let them get Voraclex. Ah, well. And the view numbers have dropped again. But anybody who stopped by, thanks for watching. Let's see how this is going to go. In either case, so I guess while we're waiting for them to play, we can talk about round 3. So round 3 was Maywin Elf Tribal. And Maywin Elf Tribal sort of... There's a very specific way you have to play against it. I did not know what I was doing. And as a result, I got a little bit hammered. Especially in the first couple games. And so that match, I ended up going 2-1, 2-1. 1-2. Move your command to the command zone, yes. I ended up going 1-2 to the elves. And that's because I made a couple bad plays. But the biggest one was... I don't encounter that deck very often, and so it took me a little bit to figure out what I was supposed to be doing into the deck. And the answer was very simple. The answer of what you're supposed to do into Elf Tribal is you have to blow up... you have to just blow up Maywin basically every instance, every time you get a chance. Blow their commander up. Instantly. They try to recast it, blow it up. They try to play stuff that gives them mana dorks, blow it up. Let's do this. I thought I'd have enough for Deathsprout, but I forgot that Thalia is still on the board, so I'm about to get a little hammered. I think I've actually probably thrown the game with this, because I needed to get rid of Jodah instead. And that would have given me like 2 more turns. As it is, I think I have to chump everything next turn. And if I don't top deck into a board wipe, that's game. But yeah, so for example, similar matchup here, funnily enough again. The correct thing I need to be doing here is to... Oh, man, that's ugly. Jodah is like... With Jodah decks, it's more obvious, but Jodah is the Lich Pin. Sorry, I went running a bit more than I usually do today, and then I went for kind of a long walk, so I don't know. That might be why I'm kind of coughing. Anyway, commander decks where you have to just remove the commander, whether it be Maywin and it's Elf Tribal, or Jodah the Unifier, because it's Jodah Archmage Eternal. Wow, this is going to be bad. I get the top 2 cards in my deck, and if they are not board wipes, I lose. That's simple. Ah, well. But for example, this game, a pretty similar thing. I needed to be properly targeting Jodah. I didn't properly target Jodah. I got over-focused on Valky, and now I'm going to get punished for that. But hey, I can still top deck a board wipe. So anyway, Elves had a couple good games where they effectively ended up functioning as semi-combo Elves, and semi-combo Elves was able to completely end me. Neither of these are board wipes, so that is pretty much game. But screw you, Jodah. Maybe I should have used this on Nicol Bolas just because I don't like that card. It doesn't make a difference, though. This game's still over. I've lost. But anyway, I lost to Elves. I was able to take a game off them, which was sort of small comfort. And being able to take a game off of Elves meant that I did end up in semifinals in the 3rd slot. Let's do this, just because it's funny. And who would you think was my opponent for the first round of semifinals? It was the exact same deck I just played against. So I got a rematch against Elves in the semifinals. And this time, having had a little bit of time to sort of like chill out after getting my butt kicked and calm down, I was able to sort of sit there and go, okay, I know what I got to do this time. I know that I need to be looking for hard removal spells in my mulligans, or I lose. And I know that I need to blow Maywin up the second it gets played every single game, or I don't stand a chance. And in game 1 of Elves, that's what happened. And then in game 2 against Elves, my opponent drew 2 lands and then didn't draw another one for the rest of the game up until I was playing my 8th or 9th one. At which point, I kind of just cleaned them out and took the game, which, you know, feels bad. That actually might have been Rego. I know with Rego there was some minor... There was one game that I played where I won game 1, we went into game 2, and then my opponent misplayed a... They misplayed, basically. And I was like... It was something really stupid, right? Where... Okay, so this is the thing I don't like about MTG arena, let's talk about that for a moment. You can't undo things, even if it's just like kind of dumb, right? Like if you're playing casual Commander with friends at a table, there's gonna be points at which you go, ah, oh, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Can I just get a do-over? This is a great opening hand. I'm gonna keep. Ah, it's Jodah again. Let's go get a swamp. But in this case, they did something that was just kind of unfortunate. They played an enchantment on a creature they didn't mean to play it on. So I was like, oh, hey, do you want to just redo that? Because like they threw the game effectively on turn 2. Not intentionally, but just, you know, bad luck, right? So we redid the game, and I think in their second one, then they proceeded to dead draw, which was very unfortunate. Do I want to do Springbloom? Oh, it's Uro. Interesting. Uro. The world's most annoying rant. Let's do you, and let's go grab a Swarm Shambler. I could just accelerate really hard. I don't have a... No, we'll do it this way. We'll grab a second swamp. And we'll go grab another... We'll go grab a Spore Crawler. And I guess I'll give up the... That might end up being a mistake, but I'm going to do it anyway. I think that's probably the most common thing I say on these streams. Anyway, we went into the final game of Elves, and I was able to beat out Elves, which brought me to Finals. And I'm probably going to make an entire video about the deck that I faced in the Finals, because it was one of the most demonstrably monstrous things that I have ever encountered. I did win. Whether or not I deserved that win, up for debate. Like, in a big way. Let's do this. Let's go grab a Verdant Embrace. Let's go do a Bloodsprout Talisman, and we'll swing to hit. So next turn's probably going to be Jodah, right? They probably have the land for it, and they're playing Kiara to set up protection. Which is a little unfortunate, because I don't have any 2 pieces of hard removal in my hand. So instead of... No, did they miss their land drop? They did. Okay. Given that that just happened, I might... Okay, short change of plans. So I do have the Reliquary Tower in this deck, which is the land that gives you no hand cap size. Mostly because this deck does tend to fill up its hand really quickly. That's not always great. Spore Crown Thaliad. Spore Swarm. Do I think they have a board wipe? Let's find out. Let's find out if they have a board wipe. If they use the board wipe, then I still have Garruk and Ugin to follow up with his bombs. If they don't use the board wipe, well, I have a board. Also a second Spore Crown Thaliad. So I hope they have a board wipe. They do not have a board wipe, which makes that another clean win for me. Hooray! Oh, man. But yeah, so the last deck I faced off was Emiri. And Emiri is... It turned out to be a fairly devastating infinite combo deck. Let me see if I can find the card real quick. Alchemy Dominaria. Commanders. Sorry, not Emiri. Niambi, Beloved Protector. So there's an infinite combo you could do with this card. And you'd be like, oh, what's the combo? Is it hard to pull off? No. No, it's really easy. It requires pretty much one other card. I'm probably going to make a video on this deck list, even though it's not my deck list at some point. But the short version is you combine this card with any card that clones on ETB. And what you do is you play this, you clone it. When the clone enters, you have to sacrifice a card because of the legend rule. You sack the clone hits the graveyard, but the clone's ETB ability of Niambi, Beloved Protector, is on the stack. That ability lets you return a creature that went to the graveyard this turn from the graveyard to the battlefield. So you return the clone. And when you return the clone, it gets a stack of, whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. But then you've got 2 copies of Niambi again, and because you have 2 copies of Niambi, you have to sacrifice a creature. So you sacrifice the clone. And then you do that loop about 40 times, play an instant or play a spell that targets your creature, and draw 40 cards. So yeah, that was a thing I was on the receiving end of. It was not pretty. I do believe I won that game. I have to check. I think that I won that 2-0. With that said, it was very dicey. And at least part of that was because Arena had a limited... So Arena stopped my opponent from doing a true unlimited combo, right? Because you can only take an action 60 or so times before the system says no. I still think I would have sort of won in that game, even if they had infinite life. Because the combo ended up being, I was able to deck them out. Ooh, what's this person playing? Tinybones! Tinybones! I like Tinybones. This could actually be kind of a favorable matchup for them, just because. Interesting. I was going to say, this could be a favorable matchup for them, just because I do discard cards all the time with this deck, if I run out of space in hand. Bajuka Bog is an interesting turn 1 play, though. I guess they're going to go for Tinybones on turn 2. Snow-covered swamp, Slimefoot Thallid. Because I'm assuming this has, like, Duress, Thoughtseize, all the other good stuff in it. I'm assuming this is a discard deck. Tinybones is great. I love Tinybones. Tinybones would kind of work in that Rizug discard list I had. Restrict Wanderer do. ETB tapped. Is this self-discard? No. Can't be, right? You're gonna sack the Wanderer for... Okay, yeah. I had the right idea. Couple seconds slow, but right idea. I don't play against Tinybones often, so I'm not 100% sure on what I'm supposed to be doing into this guy, but I think I'm just going to try to ramp really hard. And then use Guardian Project to refill my hand. Probably could have gotten a forest. No, I think the swamp was the right call. Alright, I need to get Guardian Project onto the board faster than as fast as possible, just because I don't want it discarded. But once it's on the board, black is very... I've talked about this before. Black has very limited ways to deal with enchantments. Yeah. Then exile that player's graveyard. No, I gotta keep the Assassin's Trophy. Boys Jazu and... into the north. So from this point out, they're probably going to have me discard like 2 cards a turn. I don't really want them to do that. Damn, it would have been nice to have one more. Well, let's go grab a basic land. Let's go grab a swamp, so we'll have 2 of each. So the reason I'm doing this is because I get priority. Still covered swamp. Let's draft Thallid Transplant because it's a creature. This could be interesting. I'll probably close the stream after this game, I think. Looks like viewership has sort of dropped for the moment. I don't have anything else really to talk about for that story. Except I did almost start streaming today without a shirt on. Not by, like, mistake, but more absent-mindedness. I don't... So, like... Okay, yep, there we go. What are they going to get with that? Yep. And they got Crux of Fate. That's not fantastic. So far they've shown a lot of pacing. Let's just counter pace it. Let's force them to start playing some bigger cards. I did get Guardian Project out, so what I'm looking for are my other... Yeah, there we go. There's no reason not to just punch them back. I kind of need them to run out of removal, but at this rate that is not happening. They're getting quite a lot of cards out, but I'm not sure how much they're benefiting 100% from it. Okay, yep, Skeleton Tribal. They gave me a turn. That is nice of them. Let's see if we can make them regret it. So that'd be 6. That's a little expensive. I could just do this instead. I think that's probably better. And I got 4. Let's do Thallid Soothsayer instead of Roiling Regrowth this turn. And we'll punch him for another 6. So I think we've got a reasonably strong board, so hopefully this will slow them down a little bit and force them to deal with my board state as opposed to attacking my hand. And I can use that with Binding of the Old Gods and a few other things here to maybe reset. Though I would like one more land, unfortunately, before I play Slimefoot again. Because I would like to do Slimefoot into Roiling Regrowth. I think I read the matchup correctly, though, in playing the Guardian Project as early as possible, just because Mono Black doesn't have a great way to deal with it. I say that. Sacks a creature, sacks enchantment, cracks a planeswalker. Well, let's sack a creature. Yeah. But still, that's untargeted enchantment removal, and they just cost themselves another 2 life. Not great. Let's see. What shall we see? I'd like one more, but I don't have it. Let's just keep up the pace. Let's grab Woodland Chasm. And while we're at it, giving them land is probably not great. Forcing... They have to chump pretty heavily here, otherwise they lose. Nope, that's still lethal. Alright. Well, that seems like a good time to finish off this stream. I guess there is one more thing to do before we close it, and that is to rate Slimefoot. But I am not 100% not 100% ready to do that. Also, I'm sorry, chat was up. People were saying things in chat, but I did not see it, so I apologize. Especially if unless you just joined. What's up, Kyle? I gotta put this on the other side of the board so it's easy to do stuff with it. It's your boy. What's up, everybody? It's your boy. And I'm back with another incredible deck. It's your boy Sandman Hots. Yeah, but dude, you don't stream. You gotta stream. You gotta become the stream man. The stream master. You've got the talent for it. You know? It's your boy, Sandman Hots here. Today I have just an incredible product for you. Incredible product. Let's add an image. See, you'd probably be bad at like the talking part of streaming, but you're very good at video games, and I feel like that's at least part of the skill. Slimefoot. Browse. Dominaria, Slimefoot. Alright. So, Slimefoot. Thallid Transplant. If Rizug is in A tier, by dint of just being very fun, which kicks him up from like B or C tier, where do I put Slimefoot? This is biased, because I won a tournament with him. This is 100% biased, let's be clear. I'm going to put him in S tier. I'm not sure if he's S tier. I think he's decent. I think that he generates a lot of value. I don't know that makes him S tier. I think he's just can be very powerful. I will also say that I did try to make a couple other decks with him, including Fungus Tribal. It doesn't really work. Fungus Tribal doesn't have the support it needs right now in Arena. Here, let me just transition back and I can show you guys what I mean. Because I crafted cards for the Fungus Tribal list. Let me go back to this. Like, this is all the fungus you got. Like, there is no fungus among us. Like, this is it. You want to do Fungus Tribal? You're in, like, colorless lords and buff spells, and this is it. But it still works really well when you actually do, you know, landfall lists instead. But we're here to rate our good friend and finish off the stream. So I'm sorry, I can't put Slimefoot anywhere other than S class. Super great, top tier, not actually as good as Emery, but hey, you know what? It doesn't matter. I still won those games, so close enough. I'm just gonna tap you down, tip tap, tip tap, and there we go, Slimefoot. So far this is we got A tier, we got S tier. Actually, pretty much all of these cards I think are going to be relatively high in the list. Not like King of the World, but they're all pretty good. In either case, that's all I've got for today. As always, thanks for watching. If you like my stuff, please subscribe. If you hate my stuff, please leave me comments. Let me know where I can get better. I'm still working on this stream thing. Things like doing an intro that isn't scuffed and not losing my voice and not being like, hey, my nose is itchy for 20 minutes. So, you know. But as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. But until then, take care.